Okay, hopefully I should be streaming now. Let me pull up the video. All right. There we go. Oh, I need to check if I can hear me. Just a minute. Okay, good. I can hear me. All right, fantastic. Okie doke. So, hey there, Elmer. All right. So today I'm going to be working on the High Valyrian Duolingo. I've been working on it a lot. I've been planning to release the full tree for the premiere of Game of Thrones Season 8. I don't think it's going to happen because it's March 5th. The premiere is April 14th, and I have a ton of other stuff to be doing. Ugh, what can you do? For those of you who have used Duolingo or have wondered what it's like to use Duolingo, I thought it might be interesting to see what goes into it. So, first, this is what the basic incubator looks like after you've completed a course. So here's the entire tree for High Valyrian as it stands right now. And this is what it looks like when you're actually working on it. This number here is what they say it's the dropout rate of the worst lesson from this skill. I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway, let's click into one of these. So this is the phrases skill. What did that say? 12 something? But this is actually 11.89. Anyway, I don't know. I have no idea if any of these numbers are even accurate. Anyway, so what happens when you click into, say, this is what we call a skill. They're broken down into lessons. What you see is a bunch of words, and if you click onto one of these words, they have a bunch of sentences that you produced. And these sentences tell you approximately how well people have done on them. But I don't believe that nobody has ever seen this sentence. And I don't believe that this one has only been shown twice. That just doesn't seem to make any sense. So I don't think that the stats are completely 100% accurate. But anyway, this is actually not a really great skill because this one's kind of quirky because they're phrases. Let's open this one, basics, so you can actually see what it looks like. So here is the word vale, which is the accusative of the word for man. So here, for example, it is, and here's the sentence. And so that's what it is. This is what people see. And when they click over it, they see one of these things because this means a man, man, or just the man. This means I see, or just see if you have the pronoun in there. And then you have this definition in here like this. So in other words, this is every appropriate way that this sentence can be translated. This simple little set of syntax right here says that it can be a or the. So you just put in between brackets and either one of those works. You can also put a bracket at the end and it will mean that you could delete, you could have nothing in there. A bracket at the, I'm sorry, not a bracket. You can put a slash at the beginning or the end and it means you could have nothing in there. So for example, if I did this, it would mean that there were three accepted translations. I see a man, I see the man, or I see man. Obviously that last one isn't appropriate, so I don't do that. Anyway, it has a spell out here. So there you go. Then if there are, this has never worked. Common wrong answers. I don't know why, but Then here there will be, if somebody thinks there's something wrong with the sentence, they'll have a report here where a user, when they're playing it, can say, oh, there's something wrong with this. My answer was marked wrong and it shouldn't have been, or so on and so forth. So that's the Valyrian to English side. Hey, kitty, you can't touch this. You can't touch the keyboard, kitty cat. I'm using it. You also can't touch the power cord. It makes the screen go dim a little bit. All right. We're gonna stick with this for right now, kitty. But if that paw slides up, we're gonna have to revisit this arrangement, okay? Anyway, so this is what the other side looks like. It takes the first best translation, and that's what it gives to users when it asks for a translation back into High Valyrian. So for the best translation, it matters what's first. Consequently, they will see I see a man, not I see the man, because the comes first. Then you have to give all the possible translations. Oh, now kitty, we discussed this. See, now the screen is dim. I'll do that. Now that's accepted, and we're going to get rid of that. Notational variant, but now there's only 2 lines instead of 3. A little bit simpler. I wish you could see Kelly. She's such a sweetheart. She just flopped onto her back. She rolled over so that I could give her little chin scritches. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what this thing basically looks like on the inside. This is obviously a very simple sentence. I want to show you what it looks like when you get an actual report in. So I'm going to go to a later one that I haven't looked at recently, the locative. This one is probably going to have a report. Let's see. It doesn't. Come on. Instrumental. I haven't looked. Well, actually, this one will be really easy. So if this one has a report, that will be great. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So this is the perfect tense, which is usually translated as the simple past in English. It can be translated as the perfect in English as well. Oh, good. And look. Oh, yeah. Right as you come up, kitty cat, you knock off the power cord. Okay. Because, yeah, this is the word that I named in honor of Kelly, my cat. That's the word for cat. This one is named in honor of my very first pet. Well, I don't know. No, my second pet. My goldfish Cleo. I guess my first pet was my turtle Jonesy. He ran away. Turtles will do that. They'll dig on. He dug under the fence and he just ran away. I never saw Jonesy again. That was when I was 2. Anyway, so here we go. We have a report. The sentence is Keli Cleo sangotas, and it means the cat bit the fish. And so there's the best translation. This is all possible translations. Kleos is singular. It's noun like it is in English. You are just desperate to knock out that power cord, aren't you, kitty? Let's just stay right there. All right. This could also be translated as the cat has bitten the fish. It's just not likely, I guess, out of context. But you know, let's go ahead and throw it in there anyway. The cat has. Wait, what am I doing? Let's do it right here. Bit has bitten. There we go. So that'll make this one a little stronger. Now let's see what the user suggested translation was. The kitty bit the fish. That's very cute. That is very cute. But here's the thing. I have to type in every acceptable possible answer for this word for every time it's used. So if I were to accept this, kitty, I'd have to go through every single sentence throughout the entire course that uses this word and type in kitty as an acceptable answer. you can see why that's not a very attractive option. Especially because, I mean, kitty is really a diminutive in English, and frankly, there is a diminutive. There are a couple of diminutives in High Valyrian. And so if you wanted to get technical, no, keli is not an appropriate diminutive. There would be a different one. Something like kelitsos would be better. So I'm not going to accept that user translation. And we can write a little thing here and say, for example, High Valyrian has a separate diminutive form that would be most appropriately translated as kitty. And you hit enter there, and then that deletes the report and whisks it away. In theory, that message should pop up to any user that suggests that that would be an appropriate translation, but in fact it doesn't. As a matter of fact, nobody ever sees those messages. That is, no users. So it's really just kind of a Pyrrhic exercise. Duolingo, those who work on Duolingo projects will actually type those sentences in the hope that someday Duolingo will implement the functionality for users to actually see those sentences. But it's like we've all written thousands of them, and nobody ever sees them. And you know, it's been years that the Incubator has existed. We still hold out hope, but you know, it is kind of pointless. Anyway, so oh, interesting. This is one where because there's variable word order. I mean, theoretically, there's variable word order in High Valyrian, but I didn't accept the alternate word order because both of these have an identical nominative and accusative. In that case, you really need the word order to sell it. And this is something that when you're studying the language, just in a book, it's something that you never really, I mean, that can't really faithfully be reproduced. The truth is, there's a very clear distinction between the cat bit the fish with object first word order versus the fish bit the cat. And the difference is the intonation. But the thing is, you don't see intonation. It's just something you hear. So really, I could put, it would be, klios ke liangotas. But there's no way to indicate with just the romanization that the intonation has changed. So to compensate for that, I just avoid it. Oh, hey, my wife is up. Hey, FYI, I'm just doing one of those live streams. But you can stay here. Are you going to go to sleep? Oh, all right. Love you, babe. Yeah, I get you. All right. Oh, she's already gone. I'll tell her you said hi. Anyway, so now that that's done, what I've been doing, because I recently, just this past week, I was given the ability to record audio for these sentences. That's something that I didn't have the ability to do. It was something that was only on their end. But I think, I don't know, they finally realized that I was never actually going to finish this stupid course, and so they wanted me to have the opportunity to at least do some audio. So anyway, so what I've been doing is I've been going through from the beginning of the course and recording all of the audio in one go. But as I do these reports, I record the audio just because I'm already working with these anyway. So let's record this. The way you do that is if you have an incubator that's been given this functionality, not all of them get it. You go up to the actions thing. By the way, with the actions, you can do some things here. So these are sentence tags. They tell you all the words and where they were first started, what they meant, and where they're all used and everything. You can also remove sentences from the course. I've had to do that a lot when I made mistakes or when one of my former contributors made mistakes. Report, I have no idea why you would report your own sentences. you flag them as inappropriate or something. But record audio is what you do. And so you say your voice, I am male, and then you just hit record. Keliklios angotas. And let's hear what that sounds like. Keliklios angotas. Good enough. Bing. And done. Now people can hear audio for that sentence. I have no idea how they just record and play it back so fast. Like, this is on a website. How do they do that? I didn't think things could be that advanced. I mean, I remember when we all used GIFs on our web page as opposed to JPEGs because JPEGs took forever to load. And now you basically just have instant record and playback. I just don't know how they do it. It's amazing. Anyway, all right. Next report. We went to the city for bread. What's your complaint? I mean, yeah. So what they're saying is that we went to the city for bread. An acceptable translation should be vaoktiot henhavodisti. I don't really use va a lot unless it's like, in the direction of, but not necessarily into, or up to, something like that. I don't know. Like, here's what I'm saying. If I had this sentence here, I would be expecting a follow-up sentence to say, but we didn't make it, like, or but we were assailed by brigands or something like that. But it's hard to capture that nuance in this platform. So typically when they do something like this, I just want to honor the fact that they were thinking in the right direction. So let's go ahead and add a whole bunch more sentences because there's all this word order junk. All right. So let's do henhavot or ilon henhavot. Does High Valyrian have a word for brigand? I don't know the word for brigand in any language. I suppose it's antiquated. Okay, vaoktiot isti. That's good. Now we got to do henhavot. Let's do ilon vaoktiot and vaoktiot ilon isti. That's good. Now we need to start it off with wait, where'd it go? Okay, there's that one. Henhavot vaoktiot ilon. Okay, let's start it with vaoktiot henhavot. Hi Roman henhavot ilon. Ilon henhavot isti. All right, now this thing is accepted. We're going to click on that, and that works. We're going to record the sentence. All right. Careful. All right, you're getting near that power cord, kitty cat. Okay, here we go. Henhavot oktiot isti. Is that a little long? Hold on. Henhavot oktiot isti. Henhavot oktiot isti. Yeah, that's good. All right. So that's what it looks like the usual way that you use the interface after the course is done. But I kind of, in looking at the other Duolingo courses, I kind of got the sense that there should be 5 sections and about 10 sections, 10 skills per section. So we have this first section, checkpoint, second section, checkpoint, in the third section, and this is where the course ends, because that was basically what I could get complete in the time frame. I plan to have 2 more sections, and in order to do that, they gave me a second tree which duplicates the first tree but also allows me to add more stuff. And so then this is the rest of the tree, or the rest of the course, which still may be changed later on. But you can see how far I've gotten. And I want to show you why. Oh, I should make a Duolingo course for Aurelian and Caston. Listen, I would love to. But here's the thing. You can't just decide to make one, right? They decide if they're going to allow you to make one. I mean, otherwise, anybody could have anything they want. And I think that's the way it should be, but, you know, they've got their own overhead or whatever. I still don't understand why there isn't a finished one. I think that's really lacking. But anyway, so I wanted to show you how this is when you're building it. All right, so this is the passive skill to teach you the passive. Roman is going nuts. What are you doing, Roman? Roman! Come here, little boy. He's coming. I hear him trotting up. By the way, I got a lot of feedback from people about the course thus far, and I determined that the thing that makes the most sense is to do a lot fewer lessons and make sure you really fill up the words in each lesson. You can do 9 total words for a lesson, and so that's the goal here. Hey, Roman, my boy. Oh, my good boy. Oh, my precious boy. What is wrong? What is wrong? Why don't you come up here and settle down? He's so feisty. See, Kitty's right here. All right. He's going off again. He wants to play right now, and Kitty doesn't want to play. Kitty wants to snuggle. All right, so if you're going to make a new sentence, this is how it works. So this is a verb. Actually, this is a good one. This is a brand new verb. And so for this verb, you have to fill in every single way that it could be conjugated, or at least as far as users will have learned at this point. So up to this point, users have learned the present, perfect, and future tenses. They've learned the active and subjunctive, and now they are learning the passive. And verbs agree with the subject in person and number. First, second, and third, singular and plural. There are also a couple of infinitives and unique imperative forms. So for a brand new verb, then, these are all of the forms that need to be added just up to this point, so just for the passive. And this is only 3 tenses. High Valyrian has 8, I want to say. Anyway, and so look at all of these forms that need to be added. Every so often there will be a form that does double duty, but it's not super often. So you might think, how do you add all of these forms? Well, I would like to show you. So this verb, angogon, you've seen this already. It's the verb for bite. So some of this verb has already been added. Specifically, the non-passive versions that have already been added. So what I'm going to do is show you how you actually have to add stuff here. First, let's put in this angogon to bite. Copy, good. I see Elmer's asking about how the ligatures end up working. somebody, a user that was watching along actually came up with a solution. We approached it in two different ways. His solution wasn't perfect, but it was good enough. And so I went with that and passed it on to Juliet, and it worked well for her. I'd still like to see if I can actually nail it down sometime in the future, but for now it works just fine. Anyway, all right. So angogon, to bite. We already have the perfect present and future in the indicative and subjunctive, active. All right. So now we're just going to need to be adding the passive in the present, perfect, and future, and then in the active, in the indicative and subjunctive. So this is what it's like to add those. Here we go. So first, angoks. Generate word. I don't know why you have to click generate word. Angoks is the present, and it works for first or third person singular. Then you do, there are all of these things where you can add part of speech, case, gender, number, and so on. The only problem is that we don't have any control over what is written here. So we don't have any control over these titles. So like this word, angoks, is first and third person, present, passive, indicative. Yes. So part of speech is a verb, but the thing is, every single time I would need to scroll down to this, then I would need to jump over to here and put number singular, scroll over to here, first person, but if you put first person, then it can't be third person. But the thing is, it's both. Then I'd have to go to a tense and select the appropriate one. But of course, as you can see, there is no passive, because basically these headings right here expect basically a Romance language. That's all it has. So given how generally useless these tags are for High Valyrian, and how much extra time it would add for every single form to do this, I decided not to use any tags. It's just a complete waste of time. Anyway, then you hit create and wait, and then it goes back up to the top. You scroll all the way to the bottom, and you go again. So that was first person. This is second person, singular and plural, with a long vowel. Create. Now, let's see. That's first and third person plural. There's also a unique infinitive form for the passive in the present. Create that. And then now we have to go through and add the subjunctive. The subjunctive for these O final stems, the O turns into a V. So angvox, generate, create. All right. Now second person, long O. And the third and first person plural, with a little vowel harmony thing going on there. And now the present passive is done. And so we can move on to the perfect. Angotax. Angotax with a long vowel. Angotaxi. And this one also has its own infinitive form. So that's like to have been bitten. Gets used sometimes. And now we need to do the subjunctive. Oops. And yep. And wait. Is that all of them? Okay, now we've done the perfect. So now we can do the future. And I forget how to do the future. How do you do that with, is it an E? I think it's an A. I think it's a long, hold on, we're going to jump over to the High Valyrian dictionary here. What do we look? Angogon. Yeah, it's an A. All right. So, Angelax. By the way, when I was creating High Valyrian, I had all of these KS forms in there because I thought they would sound cool because people think X's are cool. But some in English, but somehow I think spelling it KS made it less cool. Like it just doesn't have the sex appeal of the X. I mean, there's obviously no way I was going to Romanize that with an X. I mean, that would just be the height of irresponsibility. All right. And then, okay, so that's the future indicative. Now the subjunctive. And all right. And now this is done. And mind you, this isn't a new word. So this was the short one, right? This was the quick one. The for a brand new word, like something like kyvagon, this one would be a brand new word. I'd have to have had all of these forms times 2 because I'd need to add the indicatives. And that's just for here. Later on, we're going to introduce the other tenses, so the imperfect, the pluperfect, the aorist, and the past habitual. And each time you add one of those, it adds, how does my math go here? Well, in effect, it adds 24 new forms. In practice, it doesn't add that many because some of them are going to be duplicates, like the first person singular and third person singular passive are always identical. So you're not adding as many forms. But you can see how this is just the height of tediousness. And there are so many things that could improve it just slightly. Also, watch what happens. Anytime you add a new form, and you go to these word definitions, these are just internal, it deletes what you put here before. So you have to add it again. And you can also go through and add definitions for all of these. Now, I did this previously, especially when I had other people working on the course. So I had a little short code to let you know what tense and person it was, and then a little definition saying, just saying like, this one would be, were bitten because it is perfect and it's third person plural. Anyway, but you can see how after doing all that, adding definitions to each one of these would just amplify the amount of time that you're working on this. And so I mean, without any way to automate this, it's just ridiculously tedious to work on this. And there's just tons of time spent doing something that users are never going to see. So instead, I just relied on myself knowing this language and not defining any of these forms and just knowing what is right. This means that I'm going to have to be the one that finishes this course because nobody else is ever going to be able to do it, which is unfortunate. But it's like there's so many little things that could have been made easier. Like, for example, when you add a new form, if it wouldn't shoot you to the top, but instead would jump back to here so you can press this stupid button again. Also, if, for example, when you were choosing these morphological tags, if it would automatically copy whatever was previous, or at least be somehow smart about it and try to figure out what it was that you're going to need for the next verb form, that would save a lot of time. If you didn't have to click the generate word button, I don't understand why this button is there. You basically have to hit 2 buttons to make sure that the thing is created. Previously, there was a previous version of the Incubator that didn't have any of these tags, where you could just add like as many forms as you wanted at a time. So like you could create 12 fields and just add the forms one after another really quick, and then just hit the button and it would add all of them at once. And that, I mean, even that took time, but it was far, far preferable to this. So anyway, this is why this is now taking me forever. I mean, that was just to add this, and now we have to actually go through and add sentences. That's the thing. We haven't even added sentences to this yet. But I did want to show you what that's like. So since we did this one, we have this word bite. Let's see, bite. This is was bitten or is bitten. How about, do I have a word for cheese? Hold on a sec. No, I don't. Huh. Well, how about my old friend the pear? Oh, let's say the pear was bitten by the dog, because you know dogs and pears. So Melvo is pear. Oh, and this is what happens. So you type a word, and provided you've spelled the word correctly, the word appears if it's anywhere in the course. If it's already been taught, it will show up in blue, or if it's being taught in this lesson, it will show up in blue. If it's somewhere else in the course, somewhere later in the course, it'll show up in red, and you won't be able to use it. You can only use words that have already been taught or that are being taught in that lesson. You know, for obvious reasons, to kind of keep things in line. Anyway, so it pops up, and you can just hit enter, and it'll go. So then hit space. So Melvo was bitten by the dog. So by the dog, the way that you do by phrases in High Valyrian, and honestly, I have to decide what to do with this skill. It's a little bit overrepresented. It's kind of emphasizes it to use it. It's much less common to use these by phrases in High Valyrian, excuse me, than you use it in English. Anyway, so all right, so Melvo by the dog. Anyway, so the way it works is to do by something. You actually the way you say it is with the hand of whatever. And even though obviously you know dogs don't have hands, hand just gets used with everything. It got generalized, and so you put hand in the instrumental, and then its hand is possessed. You start with the possessor in High Valyrian. The possessor comes first, and so by the dog would be Jiao Ho. Yep, there we go. Jiao Ho. So nominative is Jaos, and the genitive is Jiao Ho because that's how this declension works. So the dogs, and then ondoso with the hand. So it's with the hand of the dog. The pair with the hand of the dog has been bitten or was bitten. Angotax. All right. Then when you enter your Final punctuation, you have to add that one too. Then you hit enter. It's done. All right. All of these words already have hints written because they've been used before. This one is being used for the first time, so you need to write a new hint. And the hint will be was bitten. And of course, sometimes when you hit enter, it doesn't actually do anything because there's a lot of lag on this, and sometimes it's a little buggy. So let's try it again. Was bitten. Work this time. Yeah. And then also has been bitten. And I could put in there he was bitten, she was bitten, it was bitten, but I'm just not going to bother. All right. So melvo jaho ondoso angotax. The pair was or has been bitten by, let's do the dog. Actually, let's go ahead and do the here, and then we'll be done. All right. Now this sentence is officially in the course somewhere. The pair was bitten by the dog. So, first, now that we go over to the English side, we have to put in every acceptable translation. The reason this shows up in red is because it's a genitive, and there's nothing up here that corresponds to genitive that it knows of. There's nothing like dogs or of the dog. So what you have to do is take this whole phrase, by the dog, and say that the whole phrase should be translated as Jauho ondoso. Hit enter. Please work. There you go. And then now it says it's okay. So melvo Jauho ondoso angotax. Another possible translation of this would be Jauho ondoso melvo quiere angotax. If you want to get super technical, you could move this ondoso, you can move to the front, but that is just extremely unlikely. There would have to be a lot of context motivating that movement, so much so that I'm not going to put it as an acceptable translation. I'd like for users to think of this as basically a postposition. Anyway, the pair was bitten by the dog. Melvo jaho ondoso angotax. Done. Notice that you can't actually record audio when you first see it. You have to basically click this and make it appear, and then click on it again, and now you can record audio. So let's go ahead and do that. Melvo jaho ondoso angotax. Melvo jaho ondoso angotax. Good. Done. All right, so that's what it's like to add a sentence. In order to clear a word, you have to add 3 sentences. And for myself, I come up with a rule, and I don't know if this applies to other people that do Duolingos, but I just think it's a good rule to have 6 sentences per word. Sometimes I have a lot more, but to have at least 6. It provides for some variety. I call it sixing out. So I've done those for these. I haven't really gotten that far with the rest of them. And now we've started this new word. But of course, each of these has to have all of their forms added. And I'm not even close to that. I've done this one. I haven't done any of the others. So that's what that's like. And this is for verbs. For nouns, you have to have all the case and number combinations. So that's what it's like to work on the incubator. Let me jump to here really quick. Comments. I've seen that people have been commenting. Would I ever do a video on forming male and female names in a conlang? It doesn't sound too interesting. I mean, also, it's so language specific. I mean, there's so many different ways that can be done. I don't know. I don't know if that would make a good video. I don't know if it would be applicable. Like if anything that I write would be applicable to too many conlangs. And I don't know if that there's any necessarily cross-linguistic tendencies that you could find. It would actually be interesting to see if there's been a study on names, but I mean, there's been plenty of studies on names, but specifically male versus female names versus unisex names cross linguistically. I've never seen a study like that, but I think it would be interesting because I think that there are going to be very few things that hold from language to language. That's just my guess. Um, anyway, oh, can you make a word for cheese in High Valyrian? Um, oh, so Gilip. Oh my God! Wait, what? Gilip. Two long vowels in a row. That's not how that would work. I don't. I think I didn't create a word for cheese because I don't know enough about the history of cheese. Um, that is, how far back does it go? I like at what point in time do does a culture create or encounter cheese? How important is it? Um, is it like did the Romans have cheese? Let's see here. Did the Romans have cheese? Let's see. This looks reliable. Oh, I love this. Food was a very important aspect of the Roman Empire. Have you ever picked up any of those teach yourself guides for languages or anything like that? There is always a section that says food is very a very important part of life for blank people. Find one group of people on earth where you could say food is not really important to them. May as well just be, may as well say that about breathing too. Breathing is a huge pastime of Romans, one of their favorite pastimes. All right, cheese. Let's see. Somebody suggesting that food isn't important to Americans. Let me tell you, as an American, food is a very important part of American culture. Ridiculous. What was cheese in Latin? Uh, this will probably get us in the right direction. Really? Oh yeah, duh. Okay, let's see what the etymology of that is. Ah, ferment to become sour. That makes sense. So this word, the word for cheese in Latin, basically comes to us from something meaning to ferment, just for sour, probably something that has been fermented, um, and that gives us cassius. Uh, oh, they had another one. I think I know where this one came from. Something that's shaped or molded, right? It's so weird though because this could apply to almost anything. Why did it happen to apply to cheese? So this must be where fromage came from, right? So everybody else got you know cassius, but the French took this and made fromage, formed stuff. Huh, interesting. Anyway, but yeah, I was actually wondering about this earlier, uh, where you have a word that could be attached to any number of possible meanings. Like I thought of con man. Uh, con man, right? The con comes from confidence, but there are so many words in English that begin with con. It just so happens that confidence is the one that earned the right to become con man. But like you can imagine con coming from conscience, conscious, like, imagine if con man was a synonym for somebody that was awake. Um, conspicuous, con man is somebody that's wearing really brightly colored clothing. Uh, but no, it was confidence. confidence. That was the one that won. But there's no way that when you hear con man that you'd be able to figure that out. Even if you could put two and two together, even if you could figure out what confidence man was supposed to mean, like what its actual meaning was. Um, there's another one, con man, not conlinger. By the way, nice on that. Yeah, I saw that dictionary.com getting late to, very late to the game. Obviously, the Oxford English Dictionary was the first to enshrine the word conlang. Then Merriam-Webster got in on the act, and now dictionary.com. It's like, hey, fellow kids, you guys like con languages? Get out of here with that. Anyway, but yeah, all right. Whenever I make something now, I'm calling it cheese because I formed it. uh, oh, specifying shaped cheese as opposed to wetter cheese. That actually makes me wonder. The word hard cheese, or the term hard cheese in English, it's not what I think of as hard. Like, it's never what I think of as hard. Like, if you asked me to classify cheeses into hard and soft cheeses, I could not do it because it just makes no sense to me at all what that distinction comes from. Anyway, so back to our issue. So creating this word cheese in High Valyrian. Um, this is where we're at. So what do we want for this? The thing is, I have no word for ferment or anything like that yet in High Valyrian. I don't even think I have a word for sour um, or anything like that. And this is usually where I stop when it comes to creating a word for cheese. I just um, I just get hung up on, all right, which etymological route do I want to go for? And then, like, how do I want to go through the process of creating the word for ferment? Do I actually want to make that a verb? Should it just be an adjectival root? And then, like, I also don't understand the process of fermentation, and I don't ever want to look it up. It's not something that super interests me. You know what I mean? Um, let's see what we get for form here. Too much to form. Oh, that's interesting. That must be where this word comes from. That's amazing. Oh my god. So basically, the most likely word for cheese uh, would be this word, seter, which is already in High Valyrian as a word for magic spell. It comes from this verb, setegon, which means to make or to shape. You also have a smith, forger, and so forth. Um, is this the one that had a different word for to shape by the hand? No. No, that was I think Dothraki. Yeah. Dothraki has different words for to shape by hand. Wait, somebody saying that to me, I seem like an INTJ. Let me tell you, if you start off with the word I, you've already steered yourself wrong. Um, gosh, look at that. Setenon. Because no, Dothraki Duolingo doesn't exist. It doesn't exist because I have Living Language Dothraki, the book, and so I didn't want to make a High Valyrian. I'm sorry, I didn't want to make a Duolingo that competed with it. Um, but now that that company is folded, I may revisit the idea of creating a Dothraki Duolingo. But of course, you see how difficult it is to create one, A, and B, this one isn't done yet. So, I mean, Ferment, start from abandon. Why? And I asked that honestly. Why, if you were going to create a word for ferment, would you start from abandon? I just don't understand the process of fermentation. Like, I don't understand why that would make sense. Um, get a lot of, I get a lot of, I got a lot that's coming from this root here. And I don't 100% remember where this root came from. Look at this wizard magician. Why? Is this just the root? Is this the root? Or, because it looks like something that was formed from the, I guess that is the root. Fermentation is just leaving stuff to go moldy. Oh, that is interesting. Yeah, we do have a word for milk. Milk is, of course, milk is its own root because it's very basic. It doesn't ever need to be its own root, but in this case, it is its own root. Um, Milk is very basic. Um, Now, of course, I do have a word for abandon. Well, okay, what? I have another word for abandon, don't I? I thought I did. I thought I was just using it. This is it. Oh, of course, it comes from the same root. Well, let me type that in there. Oh, Myers-Briggs stuff. First of all, Myers-Briggs stuff is just basically astrology. There's nothing to it. Um, but I will tell you this. I've taken the Myers-Briggs 4 separate times, and I have gotten 4 separate scores. Uh, I think that the only one that was always the same was the second one, the N. Otherwise, all the other ones were flipped around. But I'd say, but even so, I'm most likely I fall into the extroverted range. Um, anyway. I mean, I just showed you one of the High Valyrian Easter eggs with with the word that was named after my cat. But I like this idea of leave, jettison, rugagon. What would happen? So rugagon would mean hmm. No. No, that doesn't work. I wonder what we have for grow. No. No. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, well, what's the relationship between milk and cheese? Is it does cheese come when you leave milk? Is that the only way you get cheese? Abandoned milk. Hold on, I'm getting an idea here. Um, because I had a thought here. I had a thought, and I think I like it. Julor is milk. Julrila would be cheese. Let me just check something. Oh my God, never? 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 Tra la la? Holy smoke. Well, now this is a question. Okay, I gotta think about this. First, yeah, the Proto-Valyrian stage. I mean, you should be able to figure it out. You can just, I think it's the case with all these things. You should be able to look at it and figure out what the proto stage is for the most part. That's definitely the case with High Valyrian. But okay, here's my thought. I can do one of two things. Since cheese is the solid form of milk, I could use an augmentative. That would be nice and easy. Or I can use the byproduct. So cheese is a byproduct of milk. Either way, this is what I need to decide because this is something that has never occurred in High Valyrian yet. There is a process whereby, actually, hold on. Seriously? Not once. No, Urlion. Then Turlion. This is making me so mad. Um, yeah. Dothraki is a word for cheese. Um, I know. Look, 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 you liar! It's right there. I'm looking for whole words, that's why. Dang. Yeah. Okay, now this one. The crucial one. Galri. Okay, that answers the question. Okay. What? Why isn't cheese native to those who speak Valyrian languages? It is native. Anyway, so here's the big vote. Are we going to do a byproduct of milk or an augmentative form of milk because the cheese is solid? I will let you choose. You want to make an informed choice? This is what the choices are. So we have julor. The byproduct will be julrilla. The augmentative, this one doesn't make sense. It will be julrasma. Hmm. Oh my gosh, we're at a dead heat here. We got two byproducts, two augmentatives. That's two more for the augmentative. I do think that the byproduct version sounds better, but I think that the augmentatives have the day. All right, there we go. That'll do it. All right. Oops. Let's let's create this word. Here we go. I don't feel great about having a long vowel and a closed syllable before a long vowel and a closed syllable. But, you do what you got to do. All right. The program I'm using, it's called Pages. Yeah, it's a standard word processor for uh, for the Macintosh. No, you don't shorten the things that are unstressed in this. I mean, you can. I mean, but it's not a standard process. It's a historical one. And in this case, I think that long vowel is gonna stay. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's go. Add another word. Oop, there. Ding, ding. Done. Oh my God. Somebody just said Word is better than Pages. Microsoft Word is the worst word processor that exists ever. If that's your only option, use Google Docs. Good Lord. Oh my goodness. Uh, Word is great if you enjoy not doing the thing that you like to do or not being able to do what you're trying to do. Anyway, so what was the point of doing that? Why did we create the word for cheese? Like seriously, I can't remember. Why did we create the word for cheese? Huh. Well, I'm sure it'll be useful at some point in time. Anyway, what were we even doing? Why was I doing that? The whole point of this was to show you Duolingo and how the incubator works. Um, anyway, that is basically what I did. So, um, if anybody has any requests that or things that they'd like to see in the Duolingo incubator, um, oh, I was going to do the cheese was bitten by the mouse, but I don't think I did mouse. Um, the Let me know now, and I'll give you a look at it. Otherwise, I was going to switch to doing something else and sign off for the night. So yeah, anybody have anything they would like to look at or any questions about how the Duolingo incubator works? My hope is that one day in the future, or at least this is what what my goal would be that anybody could make any course they wanted on Duolingo um, at any time. Um, Obviously, they have a different priority, but my thought is like even if it was just for your conlang, but my thought is even if nobody ever uses that course, I mean, who cares? It's not like the people that work in this incubator, we don't get paid. It's all for free. So if somebody wants to go to the trouble of putting together a whole Duolingo course in their own conlang, I say more power to them. It's uh, it's a great way to it's a great way to document it, at least in one sense. And so who cares if nobody uses it? I don't see the point of not just letting anybody do it. Um, yeah, look, there's like dozens of petitions to add dozens of languages to Duolingo, and frankly, I'm in favor of every single one. I don't see any reason for any language not to be added. Uh, and of course, something to keep in mind, in case you wanted to see I won't show you other people's courses because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to blow up their spot or anything. But there, just wanted to see. But when you talk about adding a language, it's really adding two languages, um, or at least it's like here, for example, like so French already existed at the very earliest stage of Duolingo for English speakers, but for people that speak Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese, if they want to learn French, now they can. See? Here's another one, people who want to learn French that speak Arabic. So, like, for example, right now, the only High Valyrian course that exists is High Valyrian for people that want to speak English. If you think about all the languages of the world, right, there could be tons of Duolingo courses just for High Valyrian. So this is a lot of what's been getting added. So like when people are asking like, oh, we want new languages, they generally mean we want new languages from English, um, which might not be as interesting to some people in other parts of the world. Like this is one for what is this for? This is for people to learn English that speak Dutch, right? Um, and there are tons of these. Learning Spanish for people that speak Mandarin. There's even an Esperanto course for people that speak Spanish. Um, anyway, so that's I don't know, that's that. Duolingo and verbs Diablo. Ugh. Oh yeah, no, the entire course and all of the sentences and everything was just completely planned by me. They're, they have these things like webinars and Slacks and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, come on, I've got other things to do. I don't have that kind of time. So that my course may not be the best designed course pedagogically, but whatever. Oh, when you say the Portuguese flag is Brazilian, it is specifically Brazilian Portuguese, not Portugal Portuguese. There is a difference. Kind of like when you see the American flag here, it's not just English, it's American English. So that means like things aren't going to be color isn't going to be ever spelled COLOUR. So it is specific. Um, oh, right, right, right. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I did look up cheese and then changed it to pear. So I was thinking of the mouse eats the cheese, but I don't even have the word for mouse in there, right? Do I? No, I don't think I have the word for mouse in the course. I think I do have a streak on Duolingo right now at the moment. Yeah, because I've been testing to see if my new thing to type double vowels if it's been working or not. Oh, I should take this course. Greek has bested me at every turn. I should learn it. Should also learn Hebrew because I've never done it. And I feel like I should eventually. And see, yeah, when you come to flags, this would be controversial where I live. That is where I come from. This is not the Vietnamese flag that you fly. Rather, it's the yellow flag with red stripes. Um, Swahili is up. That's pretty cool. Anyway, oh, Korean is up. Yeah, I should learn Korean. Anyway, oh, I don't know how long the streak is. Only like 5 days or something. I've never been somebody that was very good at using Duolingo very consistently. Um, all right. Huh. Oh yeah. Wait, those Swahili has voice samples? Oh, that's cool. I mean, it's nice to hear, but I mean, we're talking about languages that are difficult or easy to pronounce. Swahili is not high up on the list for difficult to pronounce languages. I mean, it's pretty much wears its pronunciation on its sleeve. Um, but I mean, nice, I guess. Uh, all right, I think I got to sign off to go on to other tasks. So, thank you for following along. Hopefully, this was informative. And yeah, uh, I really do hope that someday in the future, more conlangers will get to add a course to Duolingo because it's a really cool format. I think it's a really cool and fun way to introduce somebody to a conlang. You know, even if it's not, even if it's just your own personal thing, I think it's really, really cool. So, anyway, uh, very good night to all of you, and thanks again for joining. See you later.